Step, something in my jeans. FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Peace. This is brother Aidan X. Today I got very special guests. I got Sister Najah and Sister Janae. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, sisters.
Walaikum salam, sir.
So I just want to ask both of you, what is your background? How did you get the teachings? Were you born into the nation? Did you get them a different way? How did you get the teachings? And let's start with Sister Janae.
Oh, yes, sir. I was actually born into the nation. Yes, sir.
Okay, Sister Najah.
Yes, sir. I, like Sister Janae, was also born into the nation, but I think we would share the same sentiments in knowing that, you know, this is something that we did have to choose for ourselves, even though we were born into the nation. We still had to, you know, make the decision on our own. So praise be to Allah for that.
Yes, ma'am. And just growing up into the nation, because I didn't grow up in the nation. I was a fool before. I was an all-F student, about to drop out of high school for the teaching. So how was that experience, you know, getting the teachings at an early age and also experiencing, you know, this supreme wisdom right from birth? Let's start with Sister Janae again on that question.
Yes, sir. I can definitely say now that it is definitely a blessing. I would have to say though, when I was younger, I definitely most likely took it for granted. And I know oftentimes when, you know, nation babies, we can be a little arrogant in a sense that, you know, like, oh, I was born in the nation. And, you know, growing up, I didn't really think I would have the same journey as, you know, like the processing and, you know, having to find, you know, Allah in your own journey in Islam. So, but growing up, I have always loved the teachings. My dad was a student assistant minister. So growing up, we used to travel to different cities, you know, and I would listen to him teach. And my dad even told me growing up that he used to take me on his pushes with him, you know. And so I've always loved the teachings, and it was definitely a blessing for me growing up in the teachings, and I love it.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Najah.
Yes, sir. To answer your question, growing up being born into the nation, I can agree with Sister Janae that it was in some aspects taken for granted. You know, you're born into it and you kind of feel like, well, this is all I've ever known. So sometimes you don't feel the need to go deeper into your own teachings. But I can say that overall, it has assisted me greatly in being able to navigate the world as it is. I know that some nation babies, you know, we go to MUIs and things like that. But I've always been in the public school system. So for me, I've always had to utilize it to teach my peers, my friends, classmates, basically undo what the teacher or the school system was trying to teach them in some aspects as far as history, even science and down to chemistry about, you know, where we come from and all of that. You know, I had to hold that post for all my school years. So it's greatly aided me in being able to, you know, just spread the truth wherever I see that it needs to be. So praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent answers. So, you know, in the processing class, I like to keep it real. Did you guys ever deviate or go astray from the teachings, you know, because we hear a lot of people that grew up in the nation, and obviously some of them have a going astray period to where they act other than themselves, even though they was born with the teachings. So can you answer that? Was there any deviation going astray? Let's start with Sister Najah this time.
Yes, sir. Of course, we didn't fall out of heaven. We came right up from hell just like everybody else. And that question reminds me of this stereotype that preachers' kids have around them with, you grew up in the church and maybe your father is a preacher or someone in your family, and, it's kind of hammered into you like so much about the Lord and, just religion in general, that when something is kind of always in your face, you tend to wonder about what's outside of that safety bubble, if you will. So I have to say, of course, and just for transparency and the viewers, like I didn't always cover my hair in public or at school. And I feel like that's important to highlight because as sisters, we know that's something that we should do, but we also have to shine light on the fact that this is your own personal walk with Allah, and in your own time, if you really seek his face and, his mercy to be able to strengthen you to do so every day on a daily basis, then by all means, inshallah, he will bless you with that ability. But I feel like that's important to highlight because we don't need to be as judgmental as sometimes we can be in that aspect for the sisters. But I would say to the viewers, there was a time where I didn't cover my hair 24/7. But, since then I have grown, I've strengthened myself in my deen, my Islam. So that's just one example. But yes, sir. Short answer is yes.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Janae?
Yes, sir. I share the same sentiments as Sister Najah, but for me, personally, it was more so I would try to fit in with others who weren't in the nation because, I'm like, oh, wow, this is what I'm missing out on. But, I later learned that it wasn't much that I was missing out on. So in that process of trying to fit in with others, I kind of lost myself because I wasn't, myself. And so once I finally kind of got out of that, and I was just like, because I got to a point where I was just mentally drained and depressed, and I didn't even know who I was. And I can remember this vividly. We were coming into a new year, and I said a prayer to Allah, and I said, Allah, please remove all negativity from my life. Remove all negative people, environment, all of that. And I just remember the new year came in. I'm talking about literally as soon as the new year came in, all of those situations, those people were gone. And I was literally left with me and Allah. And I remember when the minister talked about Allah will beat you down until you're forced to, turn to him. And I was literally forced to just, focus on myself and Allah and my journey, with him and to him. And after that, there are so many positive people that came into my life. I finally wrote my letter and got accepted, and that was one of the most happiest moments of my life. So yeah, I've definitely had some deviation, and the main thing for me was just trying to fit in with others who weren't, in the nation. But yeah.
Yes, ma'am. My next question I just want to ask, because that a lot of people watching, especially young women watching this, see you sisters with your hair covered and covering your bodies. How was that experience covering your hair? Was it a difficult experience? Because a lot of women take pride in showing their hair, particularly in the country we live in. So how was that experience covering your hair? Can you just go into that, Sister Najah?
Yes, sir. So as I previously mentioned, I did come up in the public school system, but since I was born into the nation and my mother started implementing covering my hair pretty early on, right out of elementary, she would always send a letter to my school. And I think Sister Janae knows about that letter. My child does not eat pork. my child will stand for the pledge, but not recite it, and will not have their hand over their heart. And my child will have her hair covered. Because that is against most schools' dress codes, that you can't wear anything on your hair. So she would always send that letter, and I would always tote it up there with pride or whatever, because it was like, you know, I have an exemption.
Yeah.
But as the years went on, especially in high school, I can say for a fact that since the school, the principals, they couldn't enforce that rule on me, there were a lot of other sisters in my school that started to also cover their hair and just wear a scarf tied or whatnot, just for the style of it, because it is beautiful, just as beautiful as, you know, maybe doing your hair and showing it, but it's beautiful as well. And so I can say that Allah was able to use me to positively influence those that, you know, witness me covering my hair and things like that. So, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Janae.
Yes, sir. I could definitely add to that. When I was younger, I've only gone to public school for, I think it was half a semester. It wasn't even a full semester. I went for half a semester, and I just remember my dad coming into the classroom. I had my headpiece on, and he was just like, my daughter is gonna wear a scarf, and none of y'all better take it off or tease her or anything like that. I remember for me, as far as, you know, wearing my scarf and being proud to wear it. But I'm at a place now where I can proudly wear my scarf or a garment and walk into any establishment and just feel powerful wearing it. So, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Can you both go into what did the Nation of Islam and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what did it do to your self-esteem? You know, a lot of young women can probably testify to feeling anxiety, you know, living in this world, feeling depression, feeling a level of low self-worth. And that self-worth does often come from showing your body. So what did the teachings do to your self-esteem for both of you particularly? Let's start with Sister Janae.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Like I mentioned earlier, I did deal with depression, and I also dealt with low self-esteem. And part of that, because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, so I found myself wanting to look like, act like, be, you know, what was in my environment. So when I started my journey of, you know, really, you know, delving deeper into the teachings and, you know, just finding myself, it definitely allowed me to find my self-worth, because oftentimes I doubted my self-worth. I doubted, you know, even my religion, you know, it's in Islam, like I doubted all of that, like, you know, why me? But when I questioned why me and found myself studying why, it definitely encouraged me to love myself more and understand that I can't love anyone else more than I love myself. And, you know, finding love in Allah is finding love in yourself. So it really helped me just, you know, love myself and be proud of who I am and what I stand for. And it makes me feel powerful every day to wake up and say that I am a Black woman, an MGT in the Nation of Islam. So, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to comment. I think that's interesting because I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood in Henderson, and I dealt with the same things, but I didn't have the teachings, so I acted like a fool. But Sister Najah.
Yes, sir. I'd have to say, well, first, can you pose the question one more time, please?
Oh yeah, what did the teachings do to your self-esteem? particularly?
Yes, sir. I have to say that for my self-esteem, for one, there isn't anyone else besides the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan who educates the world about women the way that they do, who sheds the love and the light on women the way that they do. So it's unparalleled. You can't find that anywhere else. There isn't anyone else that lights that spark in us as Black women the way that they do. It's pure love. That alone makes me feel like and know that I can conquer the world. You know, whatever it is that I desire to do as a woman, this world is unable to limit me, unable to stop me, unable to slow me down. I am the master of my own destiny by Allah's permission. He has given us the teachings. He has given us and blessed us with the messenger and with the minister. And what they have given to us as Black women is something that you can't find anywhere else on the world. So that's why you see women flocking to the nation, because we feel that connection. The minister's love for us is, there isn't any other word to describe it besides pure. Nowhere else are you taught that you are the second self of God. Nowhere. And to really think about that in its essence is powerful alone. To just think about the thought that before there was a sun, before Allah created the earth, I was there with him. You don't get that power anywhere else. And so I just, I'm not trying to teach, but I mean, that is where I place my strength. That's where I find my power, is just knowing that I am the second self of Allah. I am a God. That's why in the nation, we don't use goddess, because outside of Allah, I too also share the title, I am as well. And it allows us to properly view the woman on her, in her proper way as an equal to a man. And so, I'm not gonna hold you any longer, but that's just, that'd have to be my answer. And Sister Janae has a little something else she'd like to add.
Also, yes, speaking on that, I have to also speak on the representation that we're given in the Nation of Islam that you see nowhere else.
Come on.
Of the women, Student Minister Ava, seeing the mothers and how they are all uplifted. And no other religion do you see as many, student sister ministers that are speaking and being on the forefront and are uplifted the way that they are. And so, yeah, I just had to put that out there.
Yes, ma'am.
One more, but yes, and I think it's important to always take the time to say all praise is due to Allah for Mother Khadija Farrakhan. All praises are due to Allah for the mothers of the faithful, because without them, we would not be here. We stand on the minister's shoulders, we stand on the messenger's shoulders, but we also stand on their family shoulders, especially their women. And I just really want to just take the time to highlight that, and also speak on what Sister Janae was talking about with the representation of the women. I mean, just about every Sunday, if you're watching the NOI webcast, there's a sister mounting that rostrum to teach just as hard as any other person that would. But we add a different perspective to the teachings. And we have Sister Kenya, Sister Tyra Muhammad. We have Sister Najah, Sister Janae Muhammad. We're everywhere. And the teachings are just embedded in us. And I'm thankful to Allah, because we can't get this anywhere else.
Yes, ma'am. And a lot of people watching this, they may see your guys' confidence, your woman's confidence, as a kind of a shock, because you see Islam, how it's presented to the world. Islamic women women in Islam are usually looked upon as being oppressed, or being having to walk 10 paces behind a man, you know, having, you know, really being a slave in the name of Islam. So in the Nation of Islam, are women subjected? Are women oppressed? Are women to be the slaves of a man in a house? And Sister Janae, can you just go into that, starting us off?
Yes, sir. So now you want to go first?
If you, of course. So to answer the question, absolutely not.
No.
We don't tolerate disrespect of the woman at all. That's the short answer. But yes, I mean, the confidence is on 10, of course. We know who we really are. We don't get that anywhere else, you know? But that's not our teachings. That's not what Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Father Muhammad, brought to us. He has given us something unparalleled. He has given us our own culture, the right way, the straight path. He has provided that to us. So absolutely not are we, you know, subjected to abuse. Are we disrespected? Are we lowered in value? The most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the nation, any nation, can rise no higher than its woman. I think that sums it up pretty well.
Yes, ma'am. Are you guys forced to cover up? Because a lot of people watching this may think that, you know, the women are forced to cover their hair and to cover their bodies. Can either one of you go into that? Are you guys forced?
No, sir. This is your own personal journey. It is your choice. It is your prerogative. This is your journey. This is between you and Allah. So no one is forcing you to put on a headscarf or anything of that nature. This is your journey to Allah. So that's between you and Allah. So now.
Right. Like Sister Janae said, there is no compulsion in Islam. No. This is between you and your creator. There isn't anyone that is forcing me to do anything. I carry myself, we carry ourselves the way that we do because this is something that we personally desire to uphold. So no, sir, none of that.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent answers. I just want to go into this because you sisters are young, you know, relatively speaking to other women. So just go into that. Why be registered in the Nation of Islam so young? You know, we see well, a lot of young women our age is doing. You got the hot girl summers, you got the spring breaks in Miami, you got the, you know, listening to city girls doing the twerkulator, all that type of life that's considered fun in this world. So, and a lot of people looking at the Nation of Islam and the teachings, they may say, oh, that's not fun. That's not, you know, that's not being young. Being young is doing this and that. So why be in the Nation of Islam and register in the Nation of Islam and following the restrictive laws at such a young age? Can you guys, one of you go into that?
For me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. I can speak for myself. I didn't find happiness outside, you know, in the devil's world. I didn't find happiness there. I find my peace and my happiness in the nation. It took me a while to register. I didn't register until I was 18. But that was my own personal journey. I, you know, wanted to see, oh, am I missing out on something? You know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to see what this is. But I didn't find happiness in that. And in fact, it only lowered my mental health, my spiritual health, and my emotional health. And when I found myself dedicating myself to the teachings, that's where I found true happiness and peace. And who said you can't have fun in the nation? Because we most definitely have fun here as well. So yes, I just didn't find happiness outside. And this is something that I want to dedicate my life to, because where else am I gonna go? But yes.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Najah, you have any comments?
Yes, sir. I know that a popular saying in the nation is, after all else fails, there's Islam. And I definitely can't say that I've tried the all else part, because I know that there's tons more that, people can get into in this world that I know nothing about. But I can say that I've seen enough. Some people learn by experiencing and others can learn by observation. And I was the one that learned from observation. In life, we are surrounded by different examples, people leading different lives that we're able to look at and use as a teaching moment for ourselves. And so choosing Islam it was just the answer at the end of the day. And I think it's just as simple as that.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of young women watching this, they hear what you're saying, but can one of you answer this? How can I have fun without smoking? How can I have fun without sleeping with multiple men? How can I have fun without partying and, getting drunk until, I pass out? How is Islam or the teachings, how is that going to fulfill that drive as a young woman or a young man to have fun?
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
You got it. Okay. I got it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
to start, how can this way of life fulfill the fun that, we seek and desire as young people? I'd have to say, just looking at the minister, just looking at Mother Khadijah, they are young spirited. I did a little mini lecture on the importance of remaining youthful and how Islam keeps us youthful. Because these things that we feel are fun, like the drinking and the smoking, they're just short-lived moments of pleasure, if you will, but they're not productive to us. And there is a shadow of death that lingers after they have gone. And so that's why people continue to go back to it, because it never fulfills them at the end of the day. And it's just so short-lived. But in Islam, I'd have to say we have fun because, for one, us being young isn't something that those that are older than us view as a weakness, and they don't envy that. Because in this world, I do see the division between the generations. But just to start with, being in a community that embraces youth, embraces, you just being young, and doesn't look down on that, because there is strength in that. We are the Joshua generation. We are here to help usher in the kingdom of Allah. And there's a reason why he chose us. There are many things for us to learn from the previous generations, but Allah has instilled in us as the young generation something that has never, ever been before in this world. And so just to be a part of the nation, it gives you that safe space to truly be who you are as a young person. And then you'll further learn about yourself and realize that, diving into my purpose and helping my people, I can say for the both of us that we deeply find a lot of joy in doing the work. That is fun. That is fulfilling to the spirit. And I think that's really what fun is. Fulfilling the spirit, fulfilling and pleasing the essence of Allah that dwells in all of us.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Janae, you have any comments?
Yes, sir. Just to feed off of what Sister Najah said, a lot of times we rely, on short-term pleasures to get our minds off of the troubles of the world, and just be in that one short-term, oh, I'm sorry, short-term moment. But why not turn to something that can give you long-term happiness and peace? Something that is going to educate you and feed your spirit and feed your mind. And like Sister Najah said, this is oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
This is something that, where was that? This is a place where it is a safe space for you to be yourself and learn more about yourself. And yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Just wrapping up for the both of you, is there anything that you would like to add last minute? Anything that you want to plug? And that's really it. I just want to thank you for coming on your little brother's platform.
Yes, sir. Of course, it was an honor for us to be a part of your platform, and we're grateful to Allah and to yourself for the opportunity. I think that on the note about being youthful and having fun in the nation, inshallah, very soon, Sister Janae and I will be launching and starting up a youth circle for all that are a part of the youth. And we desire for it to be even more so a safe space for all that are a part of the nation. And inshallah, we'll expand it to just youth in general. But we felt that it was important to do so and to create this space because we know that as young people, we are limitless with the way that we come, our uniqueness, and we all have multiple layers to ourselves. And sometimes we feel that as a young person, we are understood to be one-dimensional when that's not the case at all. And so we are striving to hold space for literally everyone that is a part of the youth and the nation. So that's on the way.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely support anything you sisters have on here. And I thank you again for coming on the platform, Sister Janae and Sister Najah. I hope I could do your interview some justice with the questions. And I definitely hope to do more projects and build some more. And I definitely would allow you two back on the platform for another interview. And I pray that Allah continues to bless and protect both of you and your families moving forward. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Aidan.
Yes, ma'am.